In today's video, Sarah and I will be trying out the ancient practice of divining for groundwater and taking you guys along with us as we explore this strange phenomenon to see if it works for us. Because during our recent bore well project, it was actually a professional diviner that determined the spot where we drilled, and so in this video we'll share whether the spot that the diviner chose ended up having groundwater. And as a bonus, we'll also share a really cool database with you showing all registered bores located in Australia, which can give you an insight into whether your area is likely to have groundwater. G'day guys, welcome to our channel and welcome to the bush. It's a pretty hot day today and I apologize if we look sweaty. But even though it's a struggle, we're determined to try something out today and share with you guys the outcome, and that is water divining. So after doing some research online, half the people seem to say it works, half the people seem to say it doesn't. So I figured all we can do is just try it for ourselves and share what happens with you guys. So Sarah's got something cool to show you already.
Made some rods myself, so we're going to give these a go and see if we find water. Alright guys, so divining is one of those funny things where if you simply do a Google search and ask if divining works, it will tell you that it's an inconclusive science and no one's ever proven 100% of the time that it does work. However, if you start to look into drilling a bore well yourself, you'll find that the actual owners of the drilling rigs, the ones that drill your bores, they're going to give you a list of diviners to contact before you drill your bore. And there's actually a business in Victoria whose YouTube video I saw, which was awesome. And they're so convinced that divining works that they promise that if they don't hit water when they drill on your property, they won't charge you for the drilling. So that's just something that we're keen to experiment with ourselves, because science seems to say that divining does not work. But old farmers swear by it. I've seen so many stories of people saying that their grandfather found the well on their farm using divining rods. So did their grandfather, and it's something that's been around for a pretty long time. So today we're just going to give it a go ourselves and see what happens. So we've tried this out quite a few times since we had a diviner come to our property and mark out a few spots, because we were like, if we're spending money, we want to check to see if we feel anything as well. So let's give you a little demo. So I like to hold my rods like fairly loosely, just so they can do whatever they want to do. So then we just walk until the rods indicate that there's something, like they're doing now. So from what we've researched online and from our own experience, they can either go out like mine just did, or they can cross over like this, which they do for Alex, which is very interesting. I don't know why they do the different things for different people, but I'll just show you this spot again.
Let's do that again. Reset.
Reset. So we've got them straight again, and then we just walk forward. So we have the edge of the stream again.
Same
as
spot.
we go backwards, they start to come back together.
So we've got Luna down there as the marker. How about we swap cameras and swap rods? And now I have a go, and then we compare the difference.
So we'll come back. So he has a bit of space.
Got my rods ready to go.
Yep.
Got Luna down there.
And remember, Alex's don't go outwards like mine do. They cross over.
I don't know how carefully you guys are watching my hands, but you can really feel the rods doing their thing. Try that again.
Yeah. And they've crossed over again.
Crazy.
Hey Luna.
Alright, so we've taken a walk down the track and now we're going to try and come back towards where we came from to see the other edge of the stream.
It is so hot. Oh, I've got some movement. And the other edge is here. Wow.
Let's try that again. Repeat.
Okay. Go back. I'll just reset. My hands are a bit sweaty. Okay. Water again.
So this is an edge, and then we had our other edge just up there.
Let's swap over.
Yeah.
I just find it bizarre that we get the same results.
Yeah, we get it in the exact same spot every time as each other.
Now Rufus is there as the marker again.
What do you think, Rufus?
Can you see the rods from that far?
I'll come in. They haven't started moving yet. Oh, now they are. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be like within this much precision, the results that we both get. So, like some people have mentioned though, you don't know sometimes what you're divining. So it could be anything down there. It could be just wet sand. Could be, I don't know, diamonds. Could be crude oil. So
I have heard you need to think of water though to be able to find water specifically.
yeah, it's one of those funny things. How's science going to prove if you can think about something, you're more likely to find it with metal rods? I don't know. But what we're going to do next is we're going to try and find another spot, and we'll show you guys what happens there. We'll both do a go of the divining. And then last up, we'll check the spot where our actual bore has been drilled, and we'll see if we get some readings then.
Give you a sneak peek. And by the way, for those of you who don't know us, I'm an accountant, so I'm very logical, so this is pretty out there for me.
I spent the start of my life as studying engineering as well, so that's just something to mention. We're probably not the stereotypical people to believe in divining, but no. When you hold these rods, you can really feel them doing things.
You really can.
I don't know if the feeling's palpable, but basically you don't move your hand at all. It's doing it right now.
You can feel the force in your hands. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever experienced. And yeah, I don't even think we were expecting the results that we actually got.
Yeah, I was pretty skeptical in the beginning until Sarah started walking around going, look at this, look at this. And sure enough, she would say, oh, there's a spot over there. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but go and check it with the rods. I'd go with the rods and sure enough, same spot, they cross over. So
same spot every time.
It's a funny thing.
Mind-blowing.
All right, guys, story time again before we move on to the other spots. I've got two really interesting stories to share with you. One is a really funny scientific study, and the other one is a first-hand recollection from one of our neighbors whose father was actually a professional diviner for a good few decades. So onto the funny scientific study. What they basically did, it was a place called Kassel in Germany. You guys can look the study up. What they did was they buried a bunch of pipes and they hired 30 professional diviners to come in and locate the pipes. And long story short, none of the diviners got the same readings, and it was basically just a bunch of random results, and the study proved that essentially divining doesn't work. But it's very interesting when you compare other stories like the one that we have from our neighbor, where there was a caravan park that was really in need of finding water, and they basically drilled a couple of test bores, and they went well over 50 meters, maybe they were at 100 meters, and they couldn't find water. So what they did was they called this well-known diviner out, and he showed them with the rods that essentially the spot where they needed to drill was only a few meters away where they drilled before. And long story short, they were very skeptical, saying, oh, that's not going to be any water, that's not going to be any water there. But sure enough, when they drilled down, they hit water exactly where he said they would, and that caravan park's never had to worry about water again. So I don't know, these are just the stories that we've heard, and all we can do is combine those stories with our own personal experience and make our own conclusions.
So let's experiment with another spot. Starting to feel a little bit of something. Here you go.
I was watching your hands pretty carefully. Wonder if you guys were.
We'll come from the other side. Hey, Rufus. Okay, I'm starting to feel something. There you go.
Same spot. I don't know if you're picking up Rufus each time. No, just kidding.
Rufus, go away.
Let's swap.
Yeah, you try.
No, I'm going to have a go. So, started back here somewhere.
Yep.
Here's the rods.
Maybe you're going to pick up Luna. Oh,
That's it right there.
yeah. Okay. So now try from the other side. So this is where he said it was. Yeah,
It's
about the same spot.
yeah.
Okay, so we're at the final spot to test. Our diviner gave us 2 spots to choose from, and this is the one we went with, and obviously we got water, which is amazing. But let's test it out with the divining rods.
So we'll now pretend that the bore isn't there and that we're looking for this spot for the first time, and we're determining where to invest thousands of dollars.
Okay, so that's the edge of the stream here. I can come from this side too. And the edge. So that's one of the edges of this stream for our bore.
Yeah, we've actually experimented a lot with this one and tracked it all the way through the dam and whatnot, but
Yeah.
maybe you can just show from over there again. You know, this one seems to be almost like the size of the sand patch that we spread out. This one is pretty big, and that's why he chose it, I think.
And so that's the edge here.
So there it goes again.
So the edge kind of goes in that direction through the dam. Now Alex can test it
I'll
out.
have a go.
And he's crossed over.
This one seems to be really good. There it goes again. That's the crazy thing about divining, because when you go to drill a bore, it's very expensive, and you know, there isn't really a very popular method that is better than divining. That's all that bore drillers recommend.
One handy thing we do have to share is we found a database of bores, so you can kind of have a look at the ones in your area to see like roughly what you might be expecting if there's any close by. So we'll share that as well.
There
There
it
you
goes
go.
again.
Okay, so final thoughts on divining. So as I said earlier, we're both pretty logical people, and it kind of seems like magic to us, but in our experience, it seems to work. Our diviner did say he has about 80% accuracy, so it's not going to work 100% of the time. However, he did also find water for one of our neighbours, and it was in the exact spot, he said as well. So you do seem to have a pretty good chance.
So yeah, for our personality types, believing in this kind of stuff is pretty far-fetched, but it does really seem like there is something to it. Obviously, we didn't make a test drill hole every time we did those, every time we did those exercises with the rods. If we drilled every place that we found that we thought had water, then this would be conclusive.
It'd be
But
very expensive.
all we have is one example, and the one that the diviner found had water. Now, was the water at the exact depth that they said it would be, and was the flow rate what they said it would be? Well, we can't quite give that away in this video, because we've got a video all about the actual process of drilling the bore coming up next. And if you guys want to know exactly how accurate the diviner was, we'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next episode.
So there we have it, guys. We tried out divining and our rods crossed over in the same spot as where the professional diviner pointed out, and we succeeded at finding groundwater. Of course, if we drilled bore wells at every spot where our rods crossed over and found water each time, and then tried this out in a few different landscapes, then we'd be able to scientifically conclude that divining works all the time. But as far as we know, there isn't a method yet discovered that is 100% effective at finding groundwater. So for now, all that we have is our personal experience of divining here, and also stories from people that we know. And the guys operating the boring rig also confirmed that they find water about 8 out of 10 times. So just be mindful that there is an element of chance here, and by drilling a bore, we essentially took an 80% gamble, which ended up changing the future of our farm. In the next video, we'll share the in-depth process of actually setting up the boring rig and drilling our bore well, the challenges that we ran into and the difficult decisions that we needed to make. And in the meantime, let's check out the Bureau of Meteorology database, where you can find a list of all registered bores in Australia. By studying the bores in your area, you can get a good understanding for how likely it is to find groundwater in your area. And so using this database does take a little bit of practice to get used to, because it's not as user-friendly as an interface like Google Maps, for example. But once you get the hang of it, it's really useful. So the way to zoom in on this map is by pressing the plus button here and simply by highlighting an area that you wish to take a closer look at, like this. And then the way we take a look at an individual bore is by clicking this bore viewer icon here, and then we click on one of the dots, and what we have is a summary of this bore. So we can see that, for example, it's done in New South Wales. The bore depth that it was drilled to is 43 meters, the date that it was drilled, the bore purpose, which here is to provide water for stock. And if you scroll all the way to the end, what you can see is the water level, which is actually most of the time going to indicate false because it's not registered here. To see whether the bore actually has water, you'll need to click on the lithology log, and you can sort the distances that were drilled, basically. And by scrolling along to the description, here is where you'll be able to see if a water source was found. And that wraps up today's episode on water divining. Thanks for tuning in, and if you find our videos helpful, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode. And as a bonus, check out this footage that we got of an epic lightning storm the other evening.